If anybody's listening, don't live with your boss. Where's the community outreach? There's zero, zilch, no community outreach from HPD. I mean, we're friendly people for the most part. I'd like to get back to work, but my body hurts, my mind hurts.
If you had one wish, what would that wish be?
There's a lack of compassion, I think, from the police officers. I was a firefighter for years, so I'm not going to mess with the police. I see what they do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do what I want for a little bit, take a little time, rest, repair my mental health, and ask me what time it is. Not a clue in the world. I look up at the sun. I say, maybe about 3. Everybody's replaceable. So there's a lot of really awesome people out there in the homeless communities. It'll look fabulous too. So
yeah.
There we go.
Got the sun too.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Just start out with your name, where you're from.
My name is Dylan. I'm from the East Coast of the United States of America, Connecticut. Good old Connecticut. I'm a nutmegger from Litchfield County. Grew up in the redneck woods and moved here about a year ago. August of last year I moved here, so it's been about a year now.
How old are you?
I'm going to be 30 in October.
When you were in Connecticut, were you houseless?
So I had some rough period of time where I was going through my divorce, and after my divorce I spent about 8 months just kind of couch surfing before I came out here, and not working and just doing like odd jobs and stuff, kind of like I do out here, but more consistent just because I had friends that needed stuff done. So but yeah, technically, I guess, I mean, I had a place I could rest my head, but I was houseless, I think that's a correct term.
And then what made you to decide to come to Hawaii?
To Hawaii, a phenomenal job offer that I had applied for 6 months before the fact, and it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, right as soon as my divorce finalized, like a week before it finalized, the guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, still interested in coming out to Hawaii?" And I said, "Absolutely."
What was the job? Was it
I do fire suppression by trade. I'm a basically a pipe fitter. I cut and thread Schedule 40 pipe for any kind of commercial cooking fire suppression system. So it's like sprinkler systems, but for grease fires. Companies don't like when you come and you write everything up, but I don't like stuff not working. So especially when my license is on the line.
So what happened with that then? You're still working there, or you're not?
No, I got let go March of last year. And they changed the deadbolts on the door, gave me 50 minutes to pack a bag, took my van, my phone, and said, "All right, good luck, kid." And I walked down here, and I've been here since. So
how long did it last?
August to March.
So you moved here, and awesome job opportunity, and it went.
And I was looking. I had a down payment for an apartment at the time, and I was looking at apartments. And my boss knew that, and it was like, if you gave me 2 more weeks, we would have been straight. Would have been pow. At least I would have had an apartment, place to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, it's like. It was. I think it was a lot of. There's spite in it as well too, because me and my boss didn't really get along. We kind of butted heads, different lifestyles, and I live with the man. I'll never make that mistake again. Yeah, don't ever live with your boss. If anybody's listening, don't live with your boss. You learn lessons. I thought I was secure because I did really good work, and I have good ethics. But everybody's replaceable, so you learn that lesson a couple times in life. Whole year I've been living on the island. And then March 24th, I came out here. And I was paying rent on a company condo, and they still changed the deadbolts on me. I paid $1,000 a month rent for 1 bedroom, and changed the deadbolts on the door because I was out drinking and I couldn't do an emergency call, and he picked the van up, and I had a little weed in the van, which he knew I smoked.
So as far as Connecticut, do you ever think about going back?
I could probably figure out a way to get home. I'm sure my family would work something out. My cousin's in Jersey. I got some family in the East Coast, but it's very limited family. And then there's a lot of trauma related to being in Connecticut. Like I bump into my ex-wife. I have a history of suicide attempts based off of my divorce, and seeing her is like one really big red flag for me. Like that sets me off. So
right.
And unfortunately, I she lives in the same town as my parents. That's where I'd be staying, and it's just there's too much trauma involved in going home.
Yeah,
my parents are elderly. My mom's 64, I believe. My dad's 58, so they're getting towards the cusp of older age and slowing down. Just they got a young dude living in their house, and just it's not ideal. And I do love Hawaii. I mean. And being houseless in Connecticut versus houseless in Hawaii is a very different world. I mean, we have 20 or 30 people die a year in Connecticut from cold. People do pass away out here, but it's different. People pass of like heart failure and overdosing, all sorts of crazy stuff. But luckily, the bush is pretty quiet. There's a good community out here, so not too much crazy stuff goes on. These are my birds. Hello, birds. You came for the interview. I feed them every day. I like birds. My dad's a bird person. He's the one with the crows. I don't mean to be going off on tangents. My dad, he's like a bird whisperer.
Do you have like a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year plan, or
No plan at all. Yeah, I'm trying out different stuff. I was trying fishing for a minute, and just like all I could catch is reef. Really amazing fish out here, though, and like I mean, the fish these guys catch are huge. It blows my mind, but I wasn't a great fisher, and it's kind of you need to kind of constantly put stuff into it, and it just
it's expensive too,
it's expensive,
man.
yeah. So right now, bikes my thing, and I love the bike stuff. So I can see maybe like getting a job as like tinker around a bike shop, helping people tune up their bikes and sell bikes and stuff. But I don't know how prevalent bike shops are. I'm sure they are pretty prevalent out here, but I'd like to get back to work, but my body hurts, my mind hurts, things hurt, and
yeah, because you're going through medical issues.
Yeah, my leg's all jacked up right now from something, but I couldn't walk without the bike. So like getting around for 2 days, I sat in this chair for 2 days and it was miserable. But I'd like to, I don't know, I could qualify for disability. I know that for a fact, but I don't know. I just kind of like, I enjoy that I can do what I want to do nowadays. And it's not like I don't have to get up and, I'm not, ask me what time it is. Not a clue in the world. I look up at the sun. I say, maybe about 3. And coming from a place of having a mountain of responsibilities over me with a stepson and a wife, and and working my butt off for 10 years straight and not getting anything out of it is kind of the biggest thing for me. Was house got foreclosed on, all that fun jazz, and it was like, all right, well, let me give it a shot in Hawaii. I worked in Hawaii, and I was at the point where I was almost to self-reliance away from the company, and then they kind of put an axe into that. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to do what I want for a little bit, take a little time, rest, repair my mental health. There's a great community, like I said. Everybody kind of looks out for each other out here once you get through that kind of settling in phase. And as long as you're respectful with people, people are really respectful with you. So
yeah,
I've always just approached everybody with caution. Like obviously it gets dicey occasionally. There's people are scrappy out here for sure, but people are very genuine. People are real, and the community is amazing out here. So I'm a happy dude. Most days I'm very content. Every now and then I get a little, I have needs that aren't being met, but for the most part, I spend most of my days content. So I'm happy with that.
Do the cops give you a hard time, and is it also an issue because you're white?
When I first got here, big time, yeah. And I think there's certain cops that don't like I have it's usually haole cops, white cops that don't like the white guys. Like they have to prove to the brothers that they oh no, I'm one of you guys. So I had one cop that really hassled the crap out of me, and then there's Rico, who when you first get here he kind of hassles you really bad, but he's cool with me now. I haven't had any interactions with him in a minute, but he would come and he'd be like, I need your tent down. I'd be like, okay, I'm literally packing up right now. Give me 20 minutes, and he'd show up like 2 minutes later and be like, why is this still up? But no, the cops generally are pretty cool. There's a couple cops once in a while that have like something to prove or had a bad day, but I had one interaction where a cop pushed me up against the fence during a sweep because I checked notes. He pulled up, and I was pushing my cart. My friend had disappeared and his stuff was still there, and when I left, he was packing up his stuff. So I was like, well, uh-oh, like what happened to David? And so I started grabbing his stuff as quick as I could and throwing it on top of my cart, and I had all his stuff on top of my cart. My cart's packed nicely and all strapped down. And I'm rolling it down the thing, and I hit a bump, and all the stuff comes sliding off the top. So cops pull up, and I'm picking all his stuff up off the ground. And I've got all his stuff packed up in trailers behind me, getting ready to go. Oh, is this your stuff? I said, some of it, yeah. Most of it, yeah. Well, leave everything that's not yours. Oh, okay, my buddy disappeared. I'm worried he's hurt or something. I haven't heard from him all day. I was just trying to help him get his stuff because we got to drive. It's a 30-minute drive to Harloha from here. What am I supposed to load up my little trailer and bike my butt over to the correctional facility, pick up my stuff?
Yeah.
And there's a lack of compassion, I think, from the police officers because they look, it's homeless people. But I think there are some really good police officers out here. But there's also a couple that are kind of jerks. So he was being kind of rude with me, and I said, aren't you guys like trained in de-escalation? He said, excuse me? And I said, it just feels like every time you guys pull up here, you pull up to me first. I'm in the middle of the pack. Why picking on me? And it just seems like you guys have a bone to pick with me. You're harassing me. He's like, oh, you want to see harassment? You're under arrest for illegal camping and littering. I was like, yes, sir, absolutely. I get up against the fence. I'm wearing my machete at the time. He doesn't even realize I have my big machete on my hip. Pushes me up against the fence, and I was like, man, this cop had terrible training. But I also recognize that, he's a guy. He's just doing his thing, and, the other cops were kind of like, as I was walking by, I paddled with them. I'm like, I made a joke like, oh man, is he having a bad day or something? Like, they kind of giggled. So like, they get it. Everybody has bad days. I don't know. It's different out here. Like, people seem to check each other more where I'm from in terms of like the police like that. But I also have had very little interaction like this in East Coast. Like I've never been houseless in the East Coast like that, other than like being in a transient stage. So
Right.
I don't know. That's a hard question, but I assume that their cops are kind of jerks to homeless people everywhere you go. So my big bone that I have to pick with the HPD out here is where's the community outreach? Where's the you guys giving out and touching bases with all the people in the? I mean, we're friendly people for the most part. There's a lot of very approachable people out here. Why do we not see you guys other than when you're here to bust people up and like where's the community outreach? There's zero, zilch, no community outreach from HPD. So that's my big bone to pick with them. Other than that, I mean, my interactions have been very mild with them. But I'm very mild-mannered, and especially with police officers. I was a firefighter for years, so I'm not going to mess with the police. I see what they do.
Right.
And I've not met one firefighter that likes cops, though. I'll tell you that much, because they work with them. So that tells you something. I think there are good officers out here, but like you said, they need to check the bad officers. That's the caveat. And nobody checked that guy when he was. Clearly, he would have arrested me if he had anything to arrest me for. So like it was all a big threat, and that's why I was comfortable. And like it's the weirdest exchange I've ever had with a police officer. So that or Rico just coming in and giving me shit for no reason. I'm like, why are you? Am I the only one you're giving shit? It was like, but Rico, everybody likes Rico in here. It's just when you first get here, he kind of is a little abrasive. He flexes his authority. And there's lovely folks like the uncle over here who comes and brings food, and you guys, I appreciate you guys coming. I'm actually doing an interview with this fine gentleman, Steve, right here.
All right, bro.
Yeah. So he's giving me an interview, and he's solid people. Steve and Nina, they come and they feed the community occasionally.
Where do you think you'll be in a year from now?
That's a good question. Hopefully in love. That would be my answer. Happy would be the correct answer. But maybe with a roof over my head wouldn't be bad. Either on disability or doing something I enjoy. Probably on the island. I love the island. I felt at home on the island ever since I got here. And home is where the hearth is. So
Yeah.
the day I landed, I said, "Man, this is home." Dude, don't you dare try to take this off my hat, you little fucker.
If you had one wish, what would that wish be?
One wish for anything. Excuse me, dog. It would be that's a really good question. I'd like to say end world hunger and all that stuff, but I think it would be to see all the loved ones that I lost and spend some time with them, go out, and something of that nature. Or $1 billion wouldn't be bad. Hey.
Is there anything you would want to say to anyone that's watching this?
There's a lot of really awesome people out there in the homeless communities, and just talk to them. Most of these people aren't bad people. A lot of people think of the homeless as like a dredge on society. A lot of these people are just scraping by, just trying to make ends meet. There's a lot of people that do work out here, and there's a lot of judgment, especially from all these $1 million houses that are being up. A lot of stigma towards the community, and I think if you remove that lens, that stigma, and actually talk to some of these people, it would change your interpretation of them. So that's what I would say to somebody. Especially anybody that has like a hair in their hat, a feather in their cap about homeless people, because there are unfortunately a lot of folks that give dirty looks, that stand up on the wall and look down at me and fucking, I'm not the cleanliest person in the world. I try to keep it cleanly, but I'm very approachable. You can come ask me any question in the world. I'll sit and talk with you. Right. And I love when somebody like that I've never seen comes up and says, "Hey, so what's up with what's your story?" Like there's one lovely lady, Lauren. She came up and introduced me to her daughter, and the communities out here can be very approachable. I mean, obviously approach everything with caution. People are people, but don't judge someone. A lot of these people have been through a lot of trauma.
Is there anything you'd want to say to your mom or your dad?
Just I love you guys. I miss you. We talk, a couple times a week when I can. I borrow people's phones, so they know. But I'm glad that they get to see my life. I mean, this is the car I built. I built a bike. I build things, so hey, I love you guys, miss you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. And until next time, ciao. And this is my baby. I just built this it's got a full-on trailer hitch. Check this out. I spent 3 days working on this. Most of it, I sat around and I just thought about it.